let me know about all the best practices of Apex Trigger. Manu?
Sorry, I forgot to unmute and I was just talking.
Yeah, no problem.
Yes. Okay. It's always best practice to write one trigger on one object, and it's always recommended not to write the logic inside the trigger.
Less logic. It should
less
be
logic inside the trigger.
Yep.
And the best practice is to use the helper class design pattern to write the triggers. And bulkifying of the code is important. And which is able to.
Why? What is the meaning of bulkification?
Bulkification means it's rather the trigger should be able to like trigger even if it is even if we like insert 200 300s of records at the same time.
Okay,
should be able to work even on the bigger DML operation.
Yep. Okay.
And the next one is and also not recommended to write the DML operations inside the for loop.
Why?
So, to avoid the exceeding of governor limits. So in order to do that, we can use the lists and collections to wherein use in order to in that it is inserted first and then it is the DML operation is used. And also it's very important to check all the time if recursion is avoided when we are doing the triggers, when we are writing the triggers.
So what is recursion?
That it's like it is triggered in a repetitive way again and again.
Okay, so how can we avoid that one?
It is avoided usually by writing using the like separate class, the static items used, and they are like called inside the main class whenever it is required, so that the static variables are not affected.
Yep. Okay. Anything else?
And
you also can include that all that best practices, whatever I have recommended you to write the test class, like not all that one. So let's say code should be proper indented and commented code should comment should be there, and whatever the like indentation and everything. So and a hard code ID. So everything should be like we can cover to increase some few points in terms of some interview and all.
Yes.
Okay, that's cool. Okay, fine. So now let's start little more background. Like parallelly, we'll learn the trigger also. Main thing is our logic only. So main thing, like if you are understanding the for each loop, what is for loop and what is the purpose of this list and everything. So then we easily can tackle the triggers and everything, all the DMLs and all. So now I'm going to explain you like if one or two or four of you are aware about the like everyone is saying we should not write any SOQL and DML inside the for loop. So why do we so? So let me just explain. So if I will write some SOQL, let me try to write some. Let's say I'm writing on account list. Like write it from account. If I'm writing this one, okay, and I'm going to execute this one. So before that, let me just check how many record do we have in the database. So if you are aware, so how many SOQL we can do per transaction? We can do 100 SOQL, right? This is a governor limit of Salesforce. But as of now, we have only 5 records. We will not get any error here. If in terms of like, let's say if I have more than 5 records or something like this, on that time, we will, let's say I have a 101 or 100 records or more than 100 records. And after that, so what will happen? So here it is returning total 5 records now. How many records it is returning? It is 5 records. See, in the database we have only 5 records. So in case if I want to iterate this one, iteration means that's a for loop. Iteration means I'm rotating this one. Rotating means one record will come, second one will come, third will come, fourth will. I'm saying I'm iterating. Rotating means I'm iterating. So if I'm iterating this all the records one by one, and one record will come, it will count as a one SQL. Second record will come, it is counting as a two. Third record, third, 4, 5, 6, 7. If I have 100 record in the database, I'm writing the SQL inside the for loop. What will happen? So it will reach more like around 100 easily, but it doesn't mean that we have only 100 records in a database. So we might have thousands or lakhs record in the database, right? If I have 1 lakh records in the database, that time definitely this query will not going to work. Even I have 200 records, 150 records, that time also it is not going to work, right? So make sure inside the SQL, inside the for loop, SQL should not be there, because if it is total 100 records and it is making it 100 count, then it is not going to work more than that. So let me just show you the practical example. Let's say, let me just create a few records in the database first. So is anyone speaking? I'm not able to listen you. Okay, fine. So I'm going to create around 200 records. Okay, so we can say account, contact, and parallelly I'm going to explain one more thing here. Contact form equal to new contact. This one, like where if I'm using new contact, equal to new contact or new account, new any as object, any of the object I'm using, it means I'm going to initialize allocating the new memory, or I'm going to create a new records. Okay, so con dot last name. Last name is mandatory, right? So that's why I'm going to fill last name. I'm saying dash plus I. Okay, so if I will write here insert con, will it be going to work or not? This is correct or this is wrong? Absolutely, this is wrong. You know why? Because it is going to rotate 200 times. It is going to rotate 200 times. If one time it is rotating, so this is a DML, right? So this DML will be counted as 1. So second time it will count it as a 2. Third time 3, 4, 5, up to 200 it will counting as a 200. It is rotating. If I'm getting 200 records, it will rotate 200 times at the same transaction, one time only, right? So if it is 200 and our Salesforce governor limit is 150 only, so that time it is not going to work. So now let me just try to execute this one. Let me highlighted this one and execute highlighted. So what is that? So let me just so oh sorry,
I equals to 0. You have not
Teaser, INT,
I.
spelling, integer spelling.
I didn't notice that. 1 second. So it is saying too many DMLs, right? Too many DMLs. Why it is too many DMLs? It is not going to break anything in this one. So if I'm writing here, so same exception you also will face while doing the work. Why? Because we are doing, if you will see my code, so here we are rotating 200 times. So it can handle up to 150. If I'll write here 150, that time it can work, but it is more than 100, right? So as a best way, what should we do here? So we can create a one list there in the outside. So instead of rotating 150 times or 200 times, so we will rotate it at once only. Means we are going to insert at once only all these records. If you have more than 200, 500, and like 1000 and something like this, I'm going to create one list here. Okay, so now I'm going to add all these records. So let's say I have I have one record is coming. So one record is storing in this contact con list. What is con list? It's a list of records. Why do we use list? Because if I have single variable and single value, then easily I can go to our one variable only, one string or something like this, one contact only. But here we are going to store multiple records. Multiple records if we have, then multiple, we cannot store in single variable, right? Single contact. So we need to create a list of contact. So here, whenever my contact is coming, so it is adding this contact here. Second one is coming, third one is coming. Every time it is adding. Let's say 200 records. 200 times it is adding here. So finally, we have collected all the data here. Now we need to commit in the database. We need to insert into the database. Now I'm inserting. First, it is manually it is adding one record coming, it is adding here in call list. Second record is coming, it is adding here. Third record is coming, 200 times it is adding. After completion of this, so we are going to click on the like outside the for loop, because in the for loop it is rotating every time. Outside the for loop it is not going to rotate, because scope of the for loop is from line number 6 to line number 10, right? So I'm going to execute this one. Now we can see how many record do we have in the database. Now we didn't face any exception now. So let me try to execute now. So we have refreshed it, so we can refresh. Total record is 205. Okay, so now we have total 205. So now you probably got to know why should we not use SOQL and DML inside the for loop. Now let's come to SOQL point. DML we already done, right? So now we have total 205 records. How many records this line number 1 will return? It will return total 205 records, because in the database we have total 205 records. It will definitely rotate 200 times only, because call list has 205 records. One contact will come, second contact will come, third contact. And how many times it will also rotate? It will, this SOQL can rotate up to 100 times. Means limit is like 100 SOQL we can do per transaction. But here total we have 205 records. Right, definitely it will break. So as a best way, what should we do? We should not write the SOQL inside the for loop. Now you can see, so this is too many SOQL queries, 101. 100 we can do, but it is saying it is exceeded the 100. Exceeded 100 is 101, more than 100, right? So that's why we should never do the SOQL inside the for loop also. That is also one way. So how can we do that? So we also can, like if you want to do these kind of things like some updation or something like that, so we can collect the number of variable records inside the list, and finally we can do the DML or something, whatever the things we want to do finally. So these are the things which, why should we not do DMLs and SQL inside the for loop? These are the reasons. So probably everyone is clear on this, right? So do anyone has any questions on this? All good. Okay, cool.
एक मिनट अमरजीत,
yeah,
थोड़ा एक बार और थोड़ा सा एक्सप्लेन कर सकते हो हिंदी में थोड़ा, क्योंकि समझ में नहीं आया।
देखो करना क्या है अपने को यहाँ पे, मैं बताता हूँ करना क्या है। देखो आपका रिकॉर्ड्स, कितने रिकॉर्ड्स हमारे पास यहाँ पे लाइन नंबर 1 के अंदर कितने रिकॉर्ड्स हमारे पास? टोटल वी हैव ओनली 205 रिकॉर्ड्स, राइट? इतना समझ में आया ना? हाँ। अब फॉर लूप के अंदर ये 200 टाइम्स मेरा रोटेट करेगा, 205 टाइम रोटेट करेगा, क्योंकि ये फॉर लूप है, राइट? लूप है ये, लूप मतलब रोटेट करेगा। अब एक बार रोटेट किया, द काउंट इसका कितना हो जाएगा? 1 हो गया। सेकंड टाइम रोटेट करेगा, 2 काउंट हो गए, 3 बार 4 बार, 205 टाइम्स करेगा तो 205 हो गए। और लिमिट कितना है इसका? लिमिट कितना है इसका? 100 ओनली, राइट? 100 है, तो ये सपोर्ट नहीं करेगा ना यहाँ पे। If I will do some other DML inside this one only, let's say I'm saying update con, मैं अपडेट कर रहा हूँ इसको, कॉन्टेक्ट को update con, something like this, and if I'm going to execute this one, so what will happen? ये कितना DML हो गया मेरा? देखो DML मेरा इंसर्ट नहीं होता, DML मेरा अपडेट और मतलब जो भी हमारा हर एक चीज का DML होता है, मतलब इंसर्ट, अपडेट, ये सब सारा DML होता है। So जो मैं inside the for loop, if I'm writing this one, this is also not a best way. If I want to update, then what can I do here? I can inside the outside the for loop, I can update like this or something like this. So that time I'll not face any challenge. तो मतलब for loop के अंदर आपको कभी भी SQL और DML नहीं करना है, बस ये सोच लो, क्योंकि वो गवर्नर लिमिट को हिट करेगा। ठीक है? Yep. Okay. So now we are going to discuss some few points about some apex trigger. So let's take an example. We are going to update in the before. As I told you yesterday also कि जो मुझे एक trigger पे so if I'm working on the same trigger, so then I will go with before. If I'm going to cross object, then I will go with after. Okay. So these are the things. So now we are going to update the records from parent to child, and I'm going to explain very important things. So whatever the key point of Salesforce. So trigger में आपको strong होना है. So I'll tell you one thing only. देखो सब कुछ तो नहीं आएगा उससे, but बहुत कुछ आ जाएगा. मतलब एक इंटरेस्ट बनेगा आपका, एक एक्चुअल में एक इंटरेस्टिंग पार्ट आपका लाइक बूस्ट अप होगा. That I can give you a shorty if you are dedicatedly learning the trigger. So now let me just explain you on the notepad. So if you will face any of the interview and like if any of the an interviewer will ask you the question, even not interviewer, so आपके पास कुछ ऐसा challenge आ जाता है कि if my account phone number is changing, then my all the contact phone number should also be get updated. मेरा phone number update हुआ account का, so उससे related जितने भी contact है उनका सबका phone number update हो जाना चाहिए same वाला, same phone number. अब देखने में it's quite simple, बहुत simple लग रहा है देखने में, ये सुनने में काफी ऐसा लग रहा है कि it's quite straightforward. So अब हम लिखेंगे, चलो ट्रिगर हमने लिखना स्टार्ट कर दिया. सबसे पहले लॉजिक स्टार्ट करते हैं. चलो लेट्स ट्राई टू राइट पैरेलली. It on मैंने बोला कि जितने मेरे अकाउंट है, अकाउंट जैसे मेरे अकाउंट का फोन नंबर अपडेट होता है, सो अंडर दैट ऑल द कॉन्टैक्ट शुड बी गेट अपडेटेड. सो ऑन विच ऑब्जेक्ट शुड वी राइट द ट्रिगर? सो डेफिनेटली ऑन अकाउंट, क्योंकि जब अकाउंट का मैं चेंज करूंगा देन वी विल गो टू कॉन्टैक्ट, राइट? नॉट बिफोर दैट. After that we will go to contact. Then after that means parent to child means two object means after. And if I'm going to update the phone number, then after update. It's clear, I think, right? So now I'm going to write a context variable. I don't remember that yesterday I explained about context variable or not, but yeah, today I'll explain. So now I'm going to write trigger is update. I'll explain why I'm using this one. So now what we will do, our main trigger, our main question is, let me just write. ठीक है. So जैसे भी मेरे whenever I'm going to change phone number on account object, then all the related contacts should also be get updated with the same phone number. ठीक है. So this is the thing. So now ये अपना requirement है. So now I'm going to update the record on the account object. I'm going to update the phone number. So if I will write, I need to write on account. अब trigger.new क्या करता है हमारा? It will return the list of new records. ठीक है. It will return the list of new records. अब आपको यहाँ से कॉन्सेप्ट समझ में आ ही गया होगा. जब मेरे कॉन लिस्ट के अंदर टोटल 205 रिकॉर्ड्स आ रहे थे यहाँ पे, सो यहाँ पे मेरा trigger.new. If I'm going to insert new records manually, if I'll go to database and I'm going to insert new records on account object, so then you will say कि ये तो एक ही रिकॉर्ड इंसर्ट किया हमने, ये लिस्ट ऑफ रिकॉर्ड्स कहाँ आई है? तो हम लिस्ट ऑफ रिकॉर्ड्स क्यों ले रहे हैं यहाँ पे? सो व्हाई वी आर आइटरेटिंग दिस वन? क्यों अपने को एक ही रिकॉर्ड जब हम इंसर्ट कर रहे हैं तो फॉर लूप की जरूरत क्या हुई है? तो एक ही रिकॉर्ड के लिए तो सिंपल कर सकते हैं. मल्टीपल रिकॉर्ड के लिए कि भाई रोटेट करने की जरूरत है, काफी या 1 by 1 रिकॉर्ड आना है, तो काफी बल्क रिकॉर्ड को हैंडल नहीं कर पाएंगे हम. सो दैट टाइम वी कैन से, बट यू कैन कंसीडर हियर वन सिनेरियो. लेट्स से डेटा माइग्रेशन वर्क चल रहा है आपके सिस्टम में. सो डेटा माइग्रेशन में आपके जैसे डेटा लोडर का साइज होता है 200, बेस्ट साइज 200. If you have around 2000 record, 5000, 2 lakh, 5 lakh records in the Excel sheet, so that time it is going to break, right? Because there is not a one records, there is a bulk records. So always your trigger should be bulkify. That's why it is written the list of new records. आपने जो डेटा लोडर से या कहीं से भी आपने नए रिकॉर्ड को इंसर्ट करने की ट्राई किया है, तो ये ट्रिगर डॉट न्यू के अंदर नए रिकॉर्ड्स आएंगे सारे के सारे जो भी आप इंसर्ट करने जा रहे हो, ठीक है. So that's why it is a list of records, not single records. If you are going to do it manually, then definitely it will be single records. But if you are doing some bulk operation, then it is a bulk records you will get here, like list of records, multiple list records. So now we are coming to point. So our question is whenever phone number of account is changed. Okay, so what will I do here? I'll ask you once, let me do it. So you will tell me there is some error, because you need to understand the requirement first clearly, and then we need to go to solution, because here we are not going to do the class as per the like coaching center and all. We are going to learn practically and very dedicatedly. We need to understand this thing. If you are not understanding, there is no use for this class. Okay, if you have any question, then ask me 1,000 times, I don't mind. Okay, so now what we need to do here, ACC dot, we need to update all the contacts, right? So what will I do here? Let's take an example. I'm writing some, okay, let me just ask you here only, then we'll go forward. So this one is correct, or this is a, like, we need to improve something here. So this is not a correct, this line number 6 is not a correct, right? Because here we are checking phone number is not null. We are not checking anywhere if phone number is changing, it is updating. How can we check that it is updating? We cannot check with this one, right? Because it is not going to happen with only same phone number. It is going to happen with my complete record. If I have 1,000 fields, then it is going to happen with 1,000 fields. How can we check the phone number is, previously my phone number was, let's say 12345. Now I changed like 54321. How will I get know it is changed now? Right?
Use the context variable also.
No. Context variable is also not going to work here. Definitely, yeah, it should be there, but it is not a solution. So we need to compare the value. So whatever the value we were having in the field, let's say this is my field. So, and this is my old field, this is my new field. I need to check if my old value is not equal to new value, then definitely it is updating, right? If both are not equal, means it is not updated. If both are not equal, it means it is updated. So if you are going to update the record, let's take example. Let me go to a contact or account object. Let's go to record. Let's say I implemented a trigger here. Okay, I'm going to just update the record simply. I'm going to update the record. I didn't change this one, or even I'm editing this one, and I'm going to. So my trigger is going to fire, right? If even I have implemented my context variable also, that time also it is going to fire. But I need to fire trigger whenever I'm changing the phone number. Let's say this is phone number, I'm going to change something like this. That time it should fire. So here main concept is we need to compare the value, old value and new value. Please think properly. Might be everyone is understanding this is quite simple. I mean, it is simple. I'm not saying it is complex, but I don't know which side you are thinking. But yeah, so it is not that much straightforward, which you are thinking. So we need to compare the value with new value. Yep.
Old value is not equal to new value.
Yeah, old value is not equal to new value, right? So now we are going to check here. We have trigger.old map. Trigger.old map. What is old map? We have trigger.new, trigger.old, trigger.new map, trigger.old map. Trigger.new return the list of new records. Trigger.old return the list of old record. Trigger.new map return the list of new ID key value pair. Old map will return the list of ID key value pair, old records. So now here what will I do? I'm going to get the ID acc.id.phone. So this will bring, see, this is my old record. I'm going to update. Update means I'm going to update the old record only, not new records, right? I'm going to update new old records. So now whatever the old value I have inside the phone field. So account ID we already have, right? In the update scenario, like in the update, definitely we have this account ID. This is ID. Account ID means this is the ID, right? We already have in the update. So this we already have. Old map, it is going to work with the old records. This is old record. If I'm going to update this one, definitely I'm going to update old records. If I'm creating new records, that is new records, but this is an old record. So now we are getting from the old map, it's a key value pair. Key means ID, value means full record. ID and full record. Let me just going to explain here little about map if you are not aware about map. So it's a, let's say it means if I'm writing this one, trigger.old map, or simply old map, or simply map only. Let's take example map only. Map is, it is going to return ID and account. Let's say new map. One second. Okay, fine. So now we have so in the ID, it's the account ID. This is complete account record. Account ID can have, we can have one thing in the account ID. Let's say we have this account ID. So I have this only this thing in the ID. This is ID. This is ID. This ID is this ID. What is account? Account equal to my complete information, all this information, whatever information I have in this one. This is my account information completely. If I have this blank, then there will be like this one will be blank. If I have any information, that would be like whatever information we have, that would be. So let me just explain you here also instead of writing all this thing. So let me just go through system dot, or let me just remove everything. Let me make it simple. System dot debug. I'm going to write trigger dot old map. Okay. So now I'm going to set the, I'm going to set debug log, right? So debug log आपको सबको सेट करना आता है, अपने को रिन्यू करना है only, right? क्योंकि previous session में we already discussed. So I'm going to delete all that records. Records means all that debug entries. Okay. Now I'm going to update the record. Now it is displaying one thing here. So you can see, as I already explained, map means it is going to give you ID and all the field records. If I will copy this thing and I'll paste here. So let's make it simple. So this is our ID and this is ID, and these all are my account records. Means this is ID, is this ID, and equal to means all these records. All these records means ID is deleted, master field, type, name, parent ID, and everything. TCS is name, our name, right? TCS is our account name. So this all information we will get, all this field information we will get in account, and in ID we will get this ID. Okay, in a map, like ID key will be unique and value can be duplicate. So here we are going to implement our logic now. And let me just show you one thing. See, if I want to get one phone number, I want to get phone number, old phone number. Where is phone number? This is a phone number, right? From this one, from this map, let's say I have this map. Okay, I have this map and I have put all this value. Consider all this information you have in this account. and this ID you have in this ID. Okay, now if I want to get this phone number from the account, from this map, so what will I do here? I'll write simply new map dot get, and whatever the IDs will have that I will let you know, and the dot phone means from this phone number, from this one you are getting this, from this map you are getting this phone number. Using this map we are getting this phone number. Get means it is considering directly value. If you are writing something get, it's quite simple. If let's say you can cram this thing, means cram means first you will cram, then you will learn. If I have new map, any map I have, I'm using get method. Get method means we are not tackling with ID key, we are tackling with values only. Get means we are getting the values only. Okay, if I'm writing here key set or something like this, that is key only. Get means we are getting the value, whatever like taken care of this ID. So now let me just try to practically implement it, this one. So probably this will be a little more helpful for you. Okay, so now we have trigger.old map. Trigger.old map means it is a key value pair, as we already have key and value pair. Key means ID and value is complete this record. Okay, so I'm checking if here like trigger.old map dot get, as I told you, get means all these values, means values means these accounts. Okay, I'm getting acc.id.phone number. acc.id, do we have we have this acc ID, account ID, which I'm going to insert, and I'm checking from the value, from which value is this ID is existing or not. Definitely this ID is existing, and against this ID I'm getting this phone number. I'm getting this phone number, and after that I'm comparing, not equal to acc.phone. Simple. So this is a syntax which I'm trying to explain you. I know this will be little tough to understand in first time only, but if you will go through this video again, then I'm sure, or if you will go through some Salesforce documentation or from the Google or something like this, I'm pretty sure you will learn easily. Okay. Yeah.
How we will make this, like in what scenario we should use list and what scenario we should use map?
Yeah, we'll have the separate session on that. Okay, because that is quite different topic. Okay, it's related to this one, but each and everything in the Salesforce is interlinked with each other. Okay, so now we are going to compare this one. Please try to understand this line only, highlighted line only. Try to understand this highlighted line only, because this is more meaningful. Then you can understand the significance of your map. You can implement map everywhere. Okay, so now my old value, it will bring my old value. This is my new value, which I'm going to insert. Okay, if both are not equal, definitely it is updating. We are updating. So now I'm going to use again map ID and string. It doesn't mean कि map only have the ID and string only. मतलब उसमें कुछ भी हो सकता है हमारा. New ACC map equal to new map of ID and string. Okay, so I'm going to put my acc.id and acc.phone. अब मैंने ये क्यों किया है, मैंने मैप क्यों यूज किया है, बिकॉज गोइंग फॉरवर्ड जो मैं कॉन्टैक्ट को लेके आऊंगा, आई विल क्वेरी ऑल दैट कॉन्टैक्ट विच इज कम्स अंडर दिस अकाउंट आईडी. इस अकाउंट आईडी के नीचे जितने भी कॉन्टैक्ट हैं उन सबको मैं क्वेरी करूंगा. लाइक इस अकाउंट के नीचे जितने मेरे कॉन्टैक्ट्स हैं, like I don't have any contact here, I can have multiple contacts under the account, so I can query all that contacts under the account. Then accordingly, if I'll have all that contacts in my hand, then I can update all that contacts, right, with the same phone number. कॉन्टैक्ट तो मुझे लेके ही आने पड़ेंगे ना. मुझे कॉन्टैक्ट में क्वेरी नहीं करूंगा, एसक्यूएल क्वेरी नहीं करूंगा मैं कॉन्टैक्ट पे, देन हाउ विल आई गेट टू नो कि ऑल दैट कॉन्टैक्ट डू आई हैव अंडर दिस अकाउंट.